Hello and welcome to Curiosity Taught the Cat. I'm Jack, and it is just me today. And before I jump into this animal, I want to give a little bit of a warning that the pictures, if you're watching the actual video of this, the pictures we are going over the Orchid Mantis. So it is a bug. Can be kind of a creepy bug to some people, but just a warning that if that's going to bother you, that's what's going to be on the screen. So there's your little warning, and I'm going to start jumping into talking about the Orchid Mantis. So the Orchid Mantis has a couple nicknames. They include the Walking Flower Mantis and then the Pink Orchid Mantis. Where it is found is in the rainforests of Southeast Asia, which includes Malaysia, Myanmar, Thailand, Philippines, and Indonesia. It is also found in the Western Ghats of India. And orchid mantises have a very specific humidity and temperature requirements, which is why they're not really beginner-friendly pets. So I'm sure you've seen people can have mantises as pets. Orchid mantises are not ones that are really recommended as much, just because they have such specific requirements that they need met. And so these mantises require temperatures between like 30 and 55 degrees Celsius with humidity to create the most optimal environment for them. And as for appearance, you can probably guess based on some of the pictures why they're called orchid mantises, or the walking flower mantis, or the pink orchid mantis. So they come in shades of this pinkish white, and the mantis can change its color between pink and brown according to the color of its background. They have like petal-like legs and a yellowish, whitish pink color. Females will share little resemblance to males, which are about half the size of the females, and they usually sport a dull greenish brown color. So they do have some sexual dimorphism, as I just stated with their like color and appearance. They have some of the most pronounced size sexual dimorphism of any species of mantis. Males can be less than half the size of the females. And a female orchid mantis may grow up to be about 2.5 inches long and can live up to about 8 months. The male orchid mantis, on the other hand, grows only to about an inch. And so some physical characteristics, as you've seen and as I've mentioned with their coloring, they mimic parts of the orchid flower. That's what they're trying to go for, is mimic, as you can see, like you can see them standing on some orchids in these pictures. They're trying to mimic that flower and blend in with the flower. The 4 walking legs will resemble flower petals, and the toothed front pair arms are used as in other mantises for grasping prey. When they like lurch out and they grab something, they use those 2 front arms to help hold them down. As for what the orchid mantis eats, its diet consists of small insects such as like crickets, flies, fruit flies, beetles, and stinging insects such as bees. Some are even cannibalistic, eating their own siblings when some stray too close to them. As for how they hunt, so prior to the development of its camouflage, the female mantis implements ambush predation to allow it to hunt larger pollinating insects. An example of this ambush predation is the orchid mantis's ability to ambush foraging butterflies, a fairly large prey compared to the orchid mantis's size. It captures using its front pair of toothed arms and powerful bite. As the female orchid continues to develop, much of its dramatic increase in size can be attributed to predatory selection and ambush predation. So like I said, the insect is pink and white, as we've seen, with flattened limbs and with that opalescent, semi-crystalline appearance that is caused in flower petals by a purely structural arrangement of liquid globules or empty cells. So the mantis will climb up and down the twigs of the plant until it finds one that has flowers. It'll hold on to these with the claws of its two rearmost pairs of legs. It then kind of sways from side to side, and soon various small flies will land on or around the orchid mantis, attracted by the small black spot on the end of its abdomen, which resembles a fly. When a larger dipteran fly, as big as a housefly, land nearby, the mantis can like seize it and eat it almost immediately. And then as for what eats the orchid mantis, so as much as it helps, get prey, it also helps deceive potential predators. So it's aggressive mimicry is what it's referred to as. It's like I said, it's used both for catching prey and avoiding predators. So orchid mantises are vulnerable to snakes, scorpions, lizards, monkeys, and basically any other creature that you can think of that eats bugs out in the wild. It's a fairly small bug, so it basically has to depend on not being seen in order to not be eaten. They aren't a common prey animal since they hide so well and put up such a major fight when they're caught by things similar in size to it, but they can still fall victim to bigger and stronger creatures. Then we're going to get into mating for the orchid mantis. So, breeding mantises, it's a time-consuming process because the larger female will try to eat the smaller male once the mating is done. I know that's a very popular thing that a lot of people probably know about mantises, is that, yes, the female will try to eat the male once they are finished mating. But when the female is ready to reproduce, a female orchid mantis will lay eggs in something called an ootheca. It's a sticky, foamy egg pouch with a lot of protein for the growing babies. The eggs will remain in the ootheca for 6 weeks, and mom will fiercely guard them until they are ready to hatch. They are, as for like child rearing, as I mentioned, the mothers will protect the ootheca, and there are the stages of the mantises, which is the first stage, which is called nymphs, which a lot of people might have heard that term in a more fantasy type setting. But yeah, that is the name for baby mantises are nymphs. They mimic bugs of the family Reduvidae, which have a powerful bite and are foul tasting. So because these nymphs are mimicking that bug, a lot of other predators will avoid eating the baby mantises because it looks like this other one that has a powerful bite and are foul tasting. And when they do hatch, as many as 100 babies can emerge from a single ootheca. These babies, like I said, are called nymphs, and they have black legs and heads with vividly orange bodies. It's only after their first molt that they shed these hard, colorful layers and reveal pristine white forms underneath. And then as for lifespan, I touched on it earlier, but again, the female lifespan is approximately 8 months, while the male lifespan is approximately 5 to 6 months. And with it being bugs, it's hard. They don't have a lot of society, family, behavior, organization type things that you might see with, for example, like ants. So there's not much in the way of communication and behavior there. Then as for population size, they're actually not evaluated. So because of this, we do not know what their numbers are. But usually if they're not evaluated, it's assumed that they're doing at least fine. They're not in any immediate danger. And then I don't have fun facts either for this creature right now. It's hard with insects because there's just not as much going on, depending on the insect, of course. Something like ants might have a lot of behavior things that we can talk about. But yeah, the orchid mantis is just a very pretty mantis, and it's a fun one to look at and to know that these things are out there existing. So yeah, look up some videos, look at how good they are with their mimicry, trying to get bugs to land on or near them and eat them. It's a very interesting creature. But I appreciate everyone listening. We're going to be trying to get back into a more regular schedule and hopefully have more people on, so it's not just me doing the talking to you and it's more of a conversation going on. But again, thank you for listening. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time.